Before I say this next thing, I'm just going to clarify that this is very much the stage where I take off my expert and certainly my University of Oxford hat. So please don't blame either of those, anything that institution for anything I might say next. Two things. One is both the major parties are, I think, still seeing this in party and government and power terms. And I say this as a card-carrying member of the Labour Party. And I think one of the most important shifts that I would want to try and communicate is that this is not about who's in the next government. This is about the future of this country. This is about... And in the same way as we've talked a lot about, why aren't they listening to business? I've had the experience of talking to a number of members of Parliament recently, and senior members of both parties. They know it makes no sense. They know that this isn't going to work, but they feel that they are bound into electoral positions which they can't get out of. That's what we have to try and shift, I think, is to make clear that actually the judgment of this will be a judgment of history and it will be a judgment of generations. And for example, I said to a senior Conservative Member of Parliament recently, do you not think that actually if this succeeds, it will destroy the Conservative Party? And they said yes. They know this. So it's about trying to get them to look past the next election, and that's an incredibly hard thing to do for an elected politician. And then we talked, so that's the first thing I wanted to say. It's about shifting the focus from who's in government to what kind of country we are. And that would bring me to the second point. Believe me, I've done my time. I worked for the European Commission. I can do mind-numbing procedural detail at weapons grade. I can bore for Britain. Trust me. And that's the mistake that we made in the referendum campaign. I did a lot of these meetings, and I spent the first 2/3 of these meetings talking about policy, and I convinced no one. This isn't about policy. It isn't about economy. It isn't about any of these things. It is about the kind of country that we want to be. It is about the society that we want to live in. I'm sorry, before I start a speech, I would just want to say, half of my family work in the steelworks in Port Talbot in South Wales. I would never have worked for the European Union if I thought it was harming their interests. This is the best endeavour in finding a different way of peoples of different countries to live together ever in human history. And that is the positive message that we have to send.